Hello everyone and welcome to the Music Professor channel. I'm Matthew King. Today is a beautiful but blisteringly hot day in the UK. I think it's the hottest day of the year, and it also happens to be the centenary of the death of Erik Satie today. He died on the 1st of July 1925 of cirrhosis of the liver. When he died in his small and shabby apartment in the outskirts of Paris in 1925, 100 umbrellas were found in his apartment. He'd fallen out with almost everyone who he knew and worked with during his life, but he had managed in his short life, he was 59 when he died, to significantly affect the course of 20th century music and culture. He had an absolutely significant impact on Debussy when he and Debussy were young composers. He guided Debussy away from Wagner as an overwhelming influence and guided him in the direction of the sort of renaissance of French art. He said, you must go and look at Monet and Cézanne, Toulouse-Lautrec, get inspired by the new French work. And of course, you can see that's what happened to Debussy. He was inspired by this kind of work, and his own music reflects that. Satie also deeply influenced the young Maurice Ravel, who was a composer that he knew when Ravel was a teenager. Ravel was a huge fan of the early piano pieces of Satie. Later, he influenced Francis Poulenc and Les Six. He collaborated with Picasso and Jean Cocteau and Diaghilev on the Ballet Parade. And in that collaboration, he also feeds into Cubism and the early evolution of Dadaism and Surrealism later. So he's a central figure. And later in the 20th century, he was very influential on composers like John Cage. So this is huge influence. In addition to all that, I think he was a great composer, masquerading as an eccentric minor composer. His output consists of many bizarre pieces with strange titles. And yet, if you just had the early Gnossienne and Gymnopedie, you would have to say these extraordinary pieces written before Brahms had written his late piano pieces in the late 1880s and early 1890s. You'd have to say that these are exquisite jewels of piano music. All through his life, Satie was interested in abolishing the distinction between foreground and background, and his music does so in a fascinating way. It's no surprise, therefore, that he was, at the end of his life, an ardent communist, because he'd initiated a notion of egalitarianism in his music, which is very real and actually very touching. So, if you have a bottle of champagne, crack it open in memory of Erik Satie today.